Hi, hope you're well. And today, I want to kind of rehash something I've already talked about. If you remember one of my previous videos, you'll know that I've talked about Savannah, Georgia, and how it's very widely known as a haunted and historic location. A lot of people are drawn to Savannah because it's very widely known for having a dark history. It's got former war sites, haunted houses, murder locations. That's part of the reason why it's such a popular tourist spot, but it's hardly the only one in America, and definitely not the only one in the world. Let's talk about dark tourism specifically. It's actually a pretty popular term. Dark tourism, very simply put, is traveling to a place that's known to hold trauma or tragedy. And I like to say it also includes a level of danger. Not every kind of thing you can travel to that has danger involved in it is dark tourism, in my opinion. I don't think climbing Mount Everest, for example, is engaging in dark tourism, but I feel like you kind of know it when you see it. Someone ziplining wouldn't really be engaging in dark tourism, in my opinion, sure, but someone touring an abandoned hospital or a prison or something like that, sure. I'd even wager that just about any aspect of the darker parts of history has someone with a strong sense of morbid curiosity kind of seeking it out. Some of these people, the outliers for sure, the more extreme people who choose to partake in this, they've even visited places like still radioactive parts of Japan where it was bombed by a nuclear weapon, and some people even visit former concentration camps for this reason. It's debatable to me just how respectful that can be, especially if you're just going to a place like that to satisfy your morbid curiosity. That can kind of conflict with the respect you're really supposed to treat it with, especially in this new age where people are making content based around these kinds of topics. It's even more debatable how respectful you can be about it, but that's honestly an entirely different topic. I can make a whole different video just talking about that, but for today we're just going to talk about dark tourism. Something also very interesting about dark tourism to me is kind of how paradoxical it is. Of course, a lot of the sites involve places where a lot of death has taken place, and, I think wanting to visit somewhere where a lot of people have died or a lot of trauma or tragedy has happened is it feels like the kind of thing natural selection would have weeded out. Like, surely if so many people died here, you might be at risk of undergoing some kind of danger too. Why would you even want to come here? We should want to stay away from places like the places Jeffrey Dahmer frequented when he was a serial killer, but instead there's a number of us that are actually drawn to those places. Morbid curiosity as a psychological function in our brains, I'm pretty sure I've talked about it in some previous videos, so I'm not going to go too in-depth into it today, but I do think it is a very important factor when it comes to dark tourism and the people who choose to partake in it. But just in short, I do want to say it is a very complex topic, and there's a lot of controversy and conversation surrounding it and trying to explain why we even are morbidly curious at all. People have theorized that it's for complex reasons like learning to adapt and survive, and other people have theorized simpler things like it's just a part of human nature. Whatever it may be caused by, though, it is a particularly notable phenomenon to me. It's even so notable that there's a whole TV show made dedicated to it. If you have a Netflix subscription, you might be able to watch it yourself. I remember I loved it as a kid. This TV show is called Dark Tourist, and it's from 2018. The show is hosted by a man named David Farrier, and while there are a few locations that I don't really think fit the bill of dark tourism, for example, he participates in a World War II reenactment, and he also just goes to see a construction of the Ark from the Bible. Not very scary or dark or dangerous at all. There are quite a few locations that definitely do fit the bill. Most of the places he visits are definitely not conventional tourist spots. He goes to Colombia, for example, to look and see firsthand the legacy left behind by Pablo Escobar. And he also goes to a forest in Japan by the name of Aokigahara in order to see this forest that's actually widely infamous as a suicide spot. He goes to Kazakhstan, too, to look over a former Soviet Union nuclear weapon test site. And he also goes to a township known as Waida in West Africa to talk to a number of people who engage in voodoo He even takes it upon himself to undergo this kind of ritual himself, that's kind of towing the line of what's respectful, in my opinion. But that's a whole conversation in itself as well, but it does make for a very entertaining show. And that's mainly because the things he chooses here are very unconventional, they're very controversial in a way, and not many people would voluntarily choose to participate in these things. Dark tourism in this way can be very grand. It kind of dragged this man all over the world, but I'd also like to argue that dark tourism can manifest in smaller ways. Urbexing is the shorthand term for something known as urban exploration. If you're not familiar with it, in more professional settings, it can involve you and a tour guide, maybe a group of people, going through an abandoned building. However, the way I know it is maybe a little more legally questionable. I've been introduced to urbexing primarily through the internet, YouTube specifically, and usually it's just one lone person or them and maybe a few friends going through property that isn't really theirs but has been left abandoned. These abandoned structures, they can be schools, whole amusement parks even. There's really a rich community for this on YouTube, and if you haven't ever went down this rabbit hole, I would highly recommend it. Urbexing used to be something that was really dear to me. It was the only kind of video I would watch. I was really entranced by it. It was a whole phase, really. I just loved these videos. I still do, even though I don't watch them so much. Point is, I see a lot of parallels here with dark tourism. There's a level of danger in that you're going somewhere you've never really been before, where you may or may not be actually allowed to go, and there's also a level of mystery in the way that how did a place like this even get abandoned in the first place? It's like a baited hook. When dark tourism is presented like this, I get it. And when I stop to consider that morbid curiosity really does play a big part in this dark tourism phenomenon, I really understand it more. It's not hard for me to understand why people would seek out places like these, why they would try to find locations that have really been cast aside by the rest of the world, if not forgotten entirely. It's like when you go to a place like this, you really shouldn't be there, but by being there, you're kind of experiencing something a lot of people haven't. It's something new to you, even though it's old in a way. And there's also a level of learning something new there, of understanding something that was previously unknown to you. It's something I sympathize quite a lot with, actually, if you couldn't tell by me making a whole video about it, but I really do understand it, and so much so that I kind of want this video to serve as an opener to a bigger series on my YouTube channel. I am lucky enough that I live close enough to some pretty cool cities that have a pretty good amount of history. I don't want to give too much away, but there's this place called the Reed Hotel in Tennessee that I really want to visit if I can. I'm not going to talk about it too in depth right now, just because it has a lot of history that I think could warrant its own video entirely, but I'm going to try and gaslight my friend into going there with me at some point. Jason, if you're watching this, I know you are. You want to go with me so bad. You want to go with me so bad, bro. So bad. I promise. Maybe if you have any experience urbexing or engaging in dark tourism, leave it down in the comments below. I have been so bad at reacting to comments and stuff, but I really do want to get better at that. So if anyone does have any cool experiences, I will heart the comment, I think. Subscribe if you want, I guess. It doesn't really matter, but I do have an announcement I want to make, and that is that I got a P.O. box. Finally. It took me way too long to work up the nerve to do this, but the process was actually really simple. So I don't know how many people are actually going to be interested sending me anything. That's okay. I just wanted to do it for myself, really, but if you wanted to write me something or send stickers or just something silly, I don't know, now you can. I think my plan is I'll save up anything I may or may not get for its own dedicated video. That might take a while, but that's okay with me. If you're interested in that, in description, like I said. But that's really all I got for now. I am very grateful for you watching this video, if you did, and I'm sorry if it's a little shorter. I've been sick this week. I still am a little bit. Hopefully you can't hear it in my voice, but I still wanted to make something just as a personal thing because I've been doing it this long. Still very grateful if you watched this much, and I hope you have a good day. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.